Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm very excited. I'm going to be sewing, or at least attempting to, my family matching Christmas pajamas. Now I did take a trip to Spotlight, which I'm going to show you in just a second, and I did check out the Christmas section because you know me, I love a good shop with me, can't resist. But the main goal was to go and find some fabric suitable to the pajamas. Now trust me when I say I checked absolutely everywhere this year for matching family pajamas, and I could not find anywhere that had stock in both my size and Elliot's size in the same design. I checked high and low, everywhere you could think, and honestly, it just came up short. So, without further ado, we're gonna get on with it. If you guys enjoy watching me learning how to sew and teach myself in a very peculiar way, I might say too. I'm not your average sewer. I'm very new to this, and I'm also someone who has a very low attention span, so for me the best method and way that I have found sewing so far has been to wing it, and I know that's probably not advised, but I'm just not huge on following instructions. I'm very visual at learning. So for me, trial and error is the best method for me to actually retain that information in my brain. So as you watch this, please bear that in mind. And I do understand that I've probably gone a very hard way around it, and by all means don't. This is not a tutorial or a follow with me at all. It's more of an explanation of how I got to the end result and more so documenting my journey to learning how to sew. So if that is something that you're interested in watching, and please do go down and subscribe. I also do reviews of plus size friendly fashion brands and shop with me's occasionally as well. So if that's up your alley, be sure to stick around. And now to head to Spotlight. Alright, so now we are back from Spotlight, and I'm going to show you the material that I ended up picking. We have this gorgeous, wow, it's really similar to what I'm wearing today. Didn't even click in my brain. This really gorgeous cotton fabric, and it's really soft to touch cotton as well, which is really nice and malleable for pajamas. And it's obviously in the red gingham print. It is a larger gingham. I did toy up the smaller version, but for me, just this particular one was screaming out. They were having a sale. I got 10 meters because I am plus size and new to this sewing game. I didn't realize, or I didn't really know exactly how much I would need. I did a rough guesstimation off of the pajamas that I'm going to be tracing, but I wanted to make sure I had plenty and then some. And while it was on sale, I figured, let's just go all out. So I got 10 meters of this, which was an entire roll. So it was $16 full price for this, and then I think it came down to about $8, maybe $9 per meter. So when you add that up, that's only $90 for this entire 10 meter amount of fabric. And the only other cost really with this was the drawstring, which as you can see here, really nice. It was on sale for $5 for the 10 meters of that. So overall, I'm only going to be spending just under $100 for 4 pajamas for my whole family. Last year we actually bought the Peter Alexander pajamas, and while we absolutely love these and will definitely get wear out of them this year and probably the next year, my youngest son has outgrown his pair. And my youngest son is now in my eldest son's pair, and so I wanted to replicate this exact same style, but I didn't want to have to pay $300, which is what I paid last year for the sets. When I knew I could make it myself. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I'm willing to take it on. And I wanted to say it's not cheap. Like, it's not something that, you know, you can sniff your nose at or turn your nose up at. So I wanted to do a practice pattern before actually cutting into this stuff. So what you're going to see in today's video is a practice run of tracing and making my own pattern of these. Now, I did trace the shorts exactly as they are, but the shirt I ended up adapting to more of a t-shirt relaxed style just because of the jersey stretch cotton material that I'm using. So bear that in mind. But you're about to see me practice tracing for the very first time and cutting that out and finding, you know, my hiccups along the way. Like, you're about to watch the imperfections happen. So I first off started by tracing the boys' shorts. So I ended up picking the larger size of the pair that I had, which was a size 4 kids. And I made 4 pieces of A4 paper stick together so then I could trace around that and make that my template. So I obviously allowed for seam allowance by a couple of centimeters, and I also made sure to include a further 6 sort of centimeters above where it naturally finished at the top of the pant line. This was to allow me to insert the stretchy waistband and the ribbon with plenty enough to fold it over twice. So along the way I made sure to use my ruler to measure them so that they were equal, and I put the pants sort of aligning exactly centered to the paper, so that way it was going to be even from that center point and out. It was a really simple pattern to trace. One thing that I learned or figured out during the process was that I could actually cut only half of that pattern and then fold over my material in half and just trace it that way. But I didn't think like that at the time, and you know, I've learnt my lesson. Cutting out the fabric was easy, and because of the particular print that I had, it didn't really matter which way the fabric was. It wasn't really a directional pattern, which was really easy to use. And another hurdle that I've previously found in wanting to sew was the pattern struggle. Now, moving on to the top, like I said, I didn't want to make such a rigid shirt shape for this particular pair of pajamas as they were a stretchy material. So I did grab one of the boys' other pair of pajama tops that fit them really well, nice and snug, and was a comfortable, relaxed tee style. So I traced out the body, the main shape of the body, and then I traced out one of the arms, the shape of the arms or the sleeves. And then of course I just cut out 2 of each of those pieces to make one shirt. I definitely found some struggles along the way while sewing some of these items, and a lot of unpicking was done, but also again, it's that memory, the physical memory of doing it that's actually imprinted in me. So now I know moving forward that I'm not gonna make that same mistake with the actual Christmas pajamas. So with the pants, I ended up hemming the bottom by just curling it over once. I know I should have probably done 2, and like I said, this was just a practice run and it's not something that I wanted to be super professional, so I did just do the bottom hem over once, and I did a straight line of sewing onto those. So for the waistband, I folded this twice, and I made sure to fold it over the elastic size that I was using, and then tracing exactly where I wanted the opening to be for my ribbon. I marked this particular spot, and then I unraveled it, sewed my little buttonholes in there and cut them open, and then I folded over the material and sewed the whole way around. And then in the little opening where the buttonhole opening is, I ended up threading that through the holes, the little buttonholes. And this is where I made my error here. I actually sewed it together over the front between the holes, and I ended up having to unstitch that and push it back behind the bit of material and then pull it through the same hole to sew that little bit over. And then I did the same thing with the rope. So I just made sure to measure that out following the exact same ribbon that they already had in the Peter Alexander pair, and then I threaded that through just by putting a little pin, or a safety pin I should say, and threading that through, pulling it out and making sure to tie a knot in the end of each of the rope so that it doesn't fall back through the hole. Onto the top. This was a little bit trickier for me. The actual sewing the top together was not difficult at all, I found. I obviously sewed the body together first, so the front and the back piece, right sides facing each other, and then I pinned on the arm sleeves, and I made sure to pin the central point underneath the arm because that was where both of the seams were meeting. And I actually sewed a little bit of the armhole together at one point without meaning to, because I hadn't, I guess, figured that out yet. But again, it's muscle memory, something that I've learned not to do in the future. And I pinned the whole way around, making sure to get the central point of the top bit to match with the equal side of the bottom. So that way we've got no floppy sleeves leaning to one side. And then I just sewed those both on, and it seemed to work out really well. I didn't need to cut any sort of curve allowance or anything like that. It just sewed nicely. I think because it was that stretchier material, it did allow me that little bit of move or flexibility with that. The hardest part by far, which I didn't find until I was making the second top, I actually didn't have this problem while making the first time, but the second time, the collar around the neck just did not want to sit nicely, and no matter how I sewed it or pinned it, it just ended up getting to a point where it was starting to curl over or it was bunching. And so I think going forwards while making any relaxed tee like that, I will definitely cut little nodules into that curve so that way it can stretch and maneuver without doing that bunching. I got the boys to try them on for size, and honestly they turned out so well, perfectly sized. I would actually say that I ended up making a size 4 and a size 5. I did go beyond the tracing line for the second set because I did want to test it out, see how it went. And so the second pair ended up fitting Darcy really well, and the first pair fit Winnie really well. Now that fabric that I used was so gorgeous, and I did try to find some more of it in Spotlight, but they actually didn't sell any stretchy Christmas fabric. So I have to say a massive thank you to my follower who did send me all of the fabric. I think it was late last year now, or maybe early this year. No, it was probably early this year. But I just wanted to say thank you so much, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have had the ability to practice that and do a practice run of the Christmas pajamas for the boys. And quite honestly, I'm so grateful to have such wonderful followers backing me in my sewing journey. And honestly, that fabric was amazing. So if you are watching this, please let me know where you got it from, because I would love to buy some more. And yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's sew with me, or learning to sew video. If you did, make sure to go down in the comments and let me know any feedback, if you've seen anything in the video that you think I could improve on, or anything that you liked. I love chatting to you guys about my little projects. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe if this is something that you're interested in. And in the next installment or video, I will be attempting the whole family. Sorry, my card went full. But yeah, make sure to tune in for the next video. I will be making the whole family's Christmas pajamas, and I'm going to be attempting the more rigid shirt. So if you have any tips whatsoever for this, please let me know in the comments. I'm very excited to be giving it a go, and I hope you guys are just as excited to watch it. And I'll see you very soon with that video. Bye!